Hello, and welcome to the Argyle AI/ML Technology Leadership Summit. My name is Nick with Argyle, and it's great to have everyone joining us today. I have some important information to share with you, and then we will turn the floor over to our esteemed opening keynote speaker. First, we would like to take a moment to thank today's sponsors, UiPath and Eightfold AI. Our sponsors are committed to providing you with valuable content and a great overall experience. At any time during today's event, you can visit their virtual booths from the main agenda page, which include complimentary materials, information, and meet and greet opportunities. We also welcome you to stay socially connected during today's event. For those of you who are active tweeters, please use the hashtag ArgyleDigital and follow us on Twitter at Argyle Exec Forum. Also, be sure to follow Argyle on LinkedIn for special announcements. I would like to take a moment to touch on our content neutrality policy, which we have curated based on the feedback we have received over the years from our members. We have worked closely with our speaking faculty to ensure that you receive a set of balanced and neutral viewpoints during the session today, and we appreciate our members' support of this policy. Finally, and most importantly, we want to hear from you. So during each session, we encourage you to submit your questions and comments in the Q&A box on your screen. Following each presentation, we have set aside time for our speakers to weigh in on your questions. Thank you again for joining us today. Now, let's get started. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Nan Lee, VP, AI/ML and Statistical Practice, Nationwide. We are excited to have Nan with us for her opening keynote presentation titled, Creating a Solid and Scalable AI/ML Data Strategy. Welcome, Nan. Over to you.
Right, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Very nice to be on this forum, talk about the hottest topic today, about AI/ML data strategy. I'm with Nationwide. Nationwide is a comprehensive insurance and financial services headquartered in Columbus, Ohio. Actually, I work for Nationwide twice. Very glad to be back. My background is in analytics, data, AI. I have a variety of different experience. So I want to share with you my learnings, how to create a scalable data strategy today. So first, let's talk about definition of AI or artificial intelligence. Let's see. There are many different ways you can get it. You can even type in ChatGPT, see what definition you have. But I quoted this from Gartner. It says, artificial intelligence applies advanced analysis and logic-based techniques, including machine learning, to help interpret events, support and automate decisions and take actions. In this definition, I want to pay attention to two different places. One is advanced analysis and logic-based technique. That's the core. A second is for decision and action. So how do we make a decision using artificial intelligence? Actually, it's not one way. There's three different ways. There's another slide from Gartner I really like. How human and machine interact with each other. Sometimes it automatically draw the conclusion, hey, let's automate decision. It is great, but it's not the only way to do so. Actually, start from the right side is how we use reporting. For example, you have a visualization about your company performance. You make a decision where you should invest. That is decision support. In that scenarios, machine provide input, but the human makes the most judgment call. In the middle scenarios, decision augmentation. So machine and human work together side by side during each step in the decision-making process. It's almost like the auto spelling check. When you type, somebody pop up, hey, do you mean this? Then you say, yes, that's the next word. Then we'll continue. On the very side is we're trying to aspire to automate the decision, but you can say even in the decision automation space, humans still play an important role. And we cannot have any process without a human in the loop. So that is very critical for us to mitigate the risk. Now, how can we bring AI to life? This is my view is what takes to bring AI to life. We start with the core, right? Data is the raw ingredient for a model. You have good data, you get a good model. You have more data, you have more accurate model. Now, if you have a poor data quality, you get a poor model. If you have biased data, that might lead to a biased model. And if you working on wrong data, the model might help you arrive at the wrong conclusion even faster. So that's why data quality is very important. It's the first step towards a successful AI implementation. Then we have smart data scientists. Of course, we do all kind of modeling techniques, put math, right on top of the data to arrive insights. Then we have the code around the model so that when you have an input, you have an output. So basically the three components, that's the model. That's the analysis logic that Gartner talked about. But just having a model itself, it doesn't have the life. It doesn't do anything until we put into the technology process interacting with people. That is the design portion. Once we have the model, right, you have input, output. So where do we put it in the decision process? That is why understanding the process and people is very important. Are you putting a beginning, the process, side by side during decision making? And most important, you have to understand who will be impacted by this artificial intelligence, including people who will use that to augment their process, or are you going to replace them? And also include people, they will be impacted by the decision made by the machine. Do they have a way to dispute that? So when we start thinking about AI, I think data is the core, but how we start, I like start outside in. Think about the people first. Who will be impacted, how they will interact with it, how we adopt it, what's the risk we have, then work outside in, arrive what data you will need. Now, what are the key components of a successful AI strategy? Here's what I have. The number one priority is align your AI strategy with your business strategy. That is your North Star. Your AI is to help you execute your business strategy better, faster, and smarter. If your company's goal is to improve customer experience, you put AI strategy along that. If your top priority is to improve operational efficiency, you put AI where you can find and improve the speed and quality of your delivery. So what you need to do first is identify the use cases and the champions in your organization who can support you to come with the use cases and help you with adoption. I would say that is number one priority before you start with any AI strategy discussion. Having alignment will help you a lot along the way. So once you have cleared the alignment with business strategy, you have to build the foundation for your AI strategy. Here are the 4 pillars. That's no surprise to everyone that there are people, process, technology, and data. On the people side, first you have to have the talent, culture alignment. In terms of talent, we need not just data scientists. We need machine learning engineers. We need data engineers. We need the platform engineers. We need people understand the data. We need people who really good with user experience design. We need those business champions. We need end user buy-ins. And your culture play an important role. Are you a culture that accepts risk? They foster collaboration so your technical team and the end users can go through the iterative process. And do you have a clear alignment on who makes the decision when there is ambiguity, when there is trade-off, or when there's resource constraint to call off? So that's why people is the foundation of the AI strategy. You have to assemble the people, have good talent together, and have them have a way to work together collaboratively. Then you move to this process that involves operating model. How you're going to organize each other, how you make decision together, and who have the decision rights, how you fund your project and all your initiatives, and the governance, right? What the check, control, and checkpoints you have in place so you can control the risk. Then you have to define the life cycle that will enable you to execute your AI project consistently from one use case to another at the scale. Then you move to technology. For technology, I want to mention having a very thoughtful and holistic architecture is very, very important. You have aligned your data architecture with your AI architecture. Sometimes you have a different use cases. So your application architecture need to align with your AI architecture too, depending on your consumption pattern. And then you have to choose the platform, right? Are you going to build it? Are you going to buy it? Is a single platform? Is a hybrid platform? Do you choose the best of breed? Or do you want to double down on one platform to maximize the synergy? These are decisions you have to make within your technical team. Then you have to choose the tools and vendors you want to manage. In the old days, right, we can just work with a few vendors like the big ones, Oracle, IBM, you're all good. Nowadays, AI is so new. There's so many emerging vendors. You have to constantly look out for them. When you implement platform tools, the old days, or we can bet on it for the next 5, 10 years. In the new era right now, the development so quickly, when you implement a tool, almost you have your exit strategy. What if it doesn't work out? What if the next better things come out? What is my plan? Then the last component is data. Your data strategy needs to support your business, your AI strategy. In the past, user data strategy focused on supporting insights analytics, but the requirement for data and needs may be even more unique or advanced for implementing AI strategy. So you have to be aligned. Data governance is very important, ensure the quality of data. Then the data management, data engineering, that's a core capability you have to develop to support your AI applications. Then on the bottom, the last but not least, I would say it's more important to have a holistic risk management across all the 4 pillars. With the advancement of AI models, technology, and the scalability, it comes with bigger risk. Because of scalability, it can reach a lot of different parts or different people instantly at large scale in real time. That's why having a robust risk management is the top priority now. At the beginning of a use case, you have to vet it out. Do we have the rights to use the data? Is the right data that have bias in it? The treatment I'm trying to leverage, or the augmentation or automation decision I want to leverage AI, are those fair? Do they have risk? And who is have a clear accountability? Of course, in the model development, we have the robustness ways to assess the model, algorithm, and the potential impact. And the last part, but not least, but more important, is once model put in production, you have a way to monitor it, have alerts, and remediate if you see anything goes wrong. So this is where we have an AI strategy. Just repeat from the top, align AI strategy with business strategy, have your 4 pillars in place. Now, how you construct it might be different. So next one, I'm going to talk about the factors you need to consider when you put all the 4 pillars together. So first, you need to consider is your business model. Are you in regulated industry or non-regulated industry? How you approach AI might be different. Are you tech native company or you traditional? That impact your ability to act quickly and also the type of data you might have. Tech native company, they are all digital native, right? They have data readily available and they can act quickly. But for the traditional companies, you have a lot of actually fixed asset or physical things might be difficult for you to act. Single line versus multi-line is another thing to consider. Usually with single line companies, your alignment might be easier. With multi-line companies, I think balance and portfolio management become more important. Regional and global is another consideration. If it's regional, the understanding of the legal compliance may be easy, but in the global environment, right, different country, different region might have a different requirements. So that's have to put it in the consideration. The second type is operating model. How you want to organize your data analytics teams altogether. Do you want to do centralized team? Do you want to distribute it, or a federated model? Again, let's go back to some relate to your business model. If you're single lines, maybe centralized makes sense. But when you're multi-line companies, there's a pros and cons centralized team versus federated team. Then your funding model, where get your funding? Would you have a dedicated data AI funding to do the work? Will that be funded by projects, by business? Do you have a chargeback model? Or do you have the other ways to funding this team? And the second is decision-making. Who makes the decision? This is business, technology leaders, AI leaders, or maybe one of the C-levels, right? They are who will champion for your initiative. The last one is engagement model. Where would you get the projects? Is it pull versus push? Are you going to have team go out, engage with business, or business will come to you for support? So this operating model varies from company to company, really depends on your business model. Then go to the lower left right side is your data analytical maturity. Number one is, do you have data ready? And is your company comfortable with data literacy? Again, if you're a digital native company, your data might be more readily available. If you're more traditional, have a legacy, then getting your data in one place may be the first step you need to do. Data literacy is also important. You need to educate your whole company from your executive level to your middle management to your end users on the importance of using data analytics to advance your business advantage. That affects your AI maturity because the more comfortable, the more engagement you have, and the faster you have adoption. Then second is AI maturity. Do you have experience building models? Do you have experience putting model in production? If it's new to you, then you must start small, doing baby steps. If you have experience, for example, particularly in financial services industry, they're using models. So the move over to use AI, that might be much easier for them. Then the next one is your talent and culture for data maturity. If you have a lot of data scientists already, have data engineering, you have in the good culture, continue looking for the next technology, next greater thing, then maybe you can move faster. The last one we talk about build versus buy versus rent. Again, that depends on your AI maturity and the level of talent you have. If you have a lot of existing technical resources in your company, and you're comfortable with developing things on your own, and you have ability to continue support and maintenance of such capability, maybe buy is a good option. Again, you also have to make a decision based on business model. We've seen a lot of the digital native companies, they decide to build because that is their core competency. Now, if your core competence is not that on that, you don't have a good foundation, but you want to really move fast, maybe buy or rent, maybe outsourcing might be a more viable path for you. Again, you have to align your business strategy, your business model, right, with your analytic maturity, make a decision on these important things. The last one, we talk about risk again, the risk tolerance. Do you have the financial means? Because not all AI project will succeed. Actually, we see the majority of the models may not even put in production. A lot of data analytics or AI initiative failed. So do you have the financial tolerance to invest, in this uncertainty? A second, what is your technological risk tolerance? Do you want to be the early adopter, fast follower, or do you want to wait until technology matures so I can jump on? So those are decisions you have to make. Now your technological risk tolerance is connected to your talent, culture. That's not something you can change overnight. That takes time to build. Your operational risk tolerance, another thing to consider, right? Anything have a huge impact on people's life, on physical property, the risk may be really high. And if anything goes wrong, it's difficult to reverse it. So in that case, maybe you want to move slower. In other scenarios, particularly digitally, you can do a lot of online testing. You can change your strategy and tactic quickly. Maybe operational, the risk is lower. The last one will be regulatory risk. Again, in the heavily regulated industries, your risk is higher, so you want to be careful. But in the non-regulated industry, you have a lot of room to play. So there's a lot of factors to consider. I also want to share some of the lessons I learned from the pitfall you need to try to avoid. I group in the 3 categories. First, I've seen a lot of people focus on either data science or technology only. They forgot these are team sports. A lot of other things to consider: business engagement, design, and change management. A second is unrealistic expectation from the business or resistance from end users, because they either don't understand what they're getting or they're scared about, the AI might replace their job. So with this first pitfall, I will recommend you implement data and AI literacy program. Provide education across your company. Convince your leaders, your executives, this is a must-have competency for your company to survive and thrive in the new era. At the same time, enable your frontline associate really to find ways they can leverage AI to augment their work and make them more productive instead of replacing their job. The second type of pitfall I've seen so far is chasing after latest technology tools. We've heard about ChatGPT, we heard large language model, we heard, even a metaverse. Do we have a use case for that? I don't want to find a hammer, have a hammer, then try to find a nail. We want to meet where business are. That's how we talk about, you look at the business model, your maturity, decide what is the right solution for your own situation. I've seen people working on foundation forever. They want to put all data in one place on one platform until we can do anything. Or they do POC after POC, but unable to productionize things. To avoid this pitfall, I recommend you start small, right, with MVP approach. What is the smallest baby step we can take? Then make incremental improvement over time. The last set of pitfall I've seen so far is inconsistent strategy or conflicting architecture. So that's what have a work technique team. Actually, that may be painful. That takes a long time to resolve. Other thing I've seen people is focus on model development only. And they have models cannot put into production, or they're not considering risk or ethics early. I'll say the last one becoming even more important, given the power of the like ChatGPT or generative AI we have right now. We really have to consider risk ethics early. Otherwise, you might end up in the news. I don't want to mention the company's name, but we've read plenty of news now. Some of the companies jumping too early without considering the risk. To mitigate that pitfall, I'll ask you to approach things holistically, think from all angles, and design this. And partnerships important, not just with the technical team, partner with your compliance, with your legal department, with your risk department, with your business partners. So how we bring all the puzzle together? I want to leave you with this slide. I'm passionate about human-centered AI. Doesn't matter how powerful the tools will become, human is still the most important thing. We have to put them in the center. We don't advance AI for the sake of technology advancement. We advance it so that we can build a better society together and improve our lives for everyone. So again, to reiterate my point, how you put puzzle together is start with strategy, align strategy, AI strategy with business strategy. Focus on design and early, not the end of the when model is ready, but from the beginning. How will you design human and machine interaction? Of course, we need to continue to advance on the modeling side, and I think it's a lot of exciting things happening in the industry. Then the last one but not least, I think when rubber meets road is your engineering capability. And that's when we really make things happen and make things run smoothly. So with that, I want to open up for questions.
Great. Thanks so much, Nan. Yeah, we have some audience questions. Here's one. How would you address this AI issue? Artificial intelligence poses dangerous privacy risks.
It's great one. That's going back to the data, right? Look at and data and the design. Do you understand what type of data you're using? Do you have rights to use the data? Then talk about the privacy, so whose data we'll be using and how that impact the people. Now, I don't have a one-size-fits-all answer. I will say, like I said, start very early on. Bring privacy issue at your planning stage, not afterwards. And engage your privacy legal team in that discussion.
Great. Here's another question. Are prompt engineers really the new IT position / skill to obtain?
That's a great one. It is a new one. I don't know exactly how it evolved over time. It is a new skills. Now, will that become prevalent? Because in the generative AI, prompting is one way you can fine tune the model. There may be other ways too. So coming back to design, the foundational model has been there. It is there. The prompt engineering it's a design issue, how a human machine interact with each other to train the model and fine tune the model. So I think right now it's great to practice that. I yet to see how big it'll become in the future.
Great. And I think we have time for one more question. As AI is updating every day, the hardware and software need to get updated with time to meet the latest requirements. What would be your strategy in mitigating high costs of creation?
It is the reality. Now coming back to my slides is your company's maturity model and risk tolerance, right? Do you want to be the earliest adopter? Do you have people in your company to do so? Or do you want to be a late adopter, wait until there are stable commercial vendors that can help you do that? And so that is one, build versus buy. That have a different cost component, and not just the licensing cost, but also the resource cost, right? Do you have dedicated tech team to do that, or do you want to outsource to them? So again, there's no one size fits all, depending on your own AI strategy.
Okay, great. I think we might be able to get one more in. Will AI act to level the competitive playing field in many fields of business? Size, scale will lose some advantage. Will it level the playing field, in other words?
I don't know yet. In one way, it may be, particularly for those, I'll say digital native businesses, they can act quickly, can embrace it with like tool like ChatGPT, right? If the privacy is not a concern, allow them to move quickly. I would say on the other side, actually, it gives the big player more advantages because they have more data, right? And the more proprietary data, they can customize the model, train on their own data, and allow them to scale up even quicker. So it can work on both sides.
Great. Thank you again, Nan, for an excellent keynote. I also want to thank everyone else for joining us today. This session, along with all of today's content, will be available on demand following the event. Thanks again.